Hello, and welcome to Joliet History Plain and Simple. Today, we're going to be talking about the Joliet Parks and the Joliet Park District. I'm your host, Anneta Driling, the Local History Librarian at the Joliet Public Library. The park system in Joliet had its beginning with the purchase of West Park, 40 acres, and Highland Park, 45 acres, by the city of Joliet. These areas, purchased in 1899, became the beginning of the present Joliet Park District. An additional 327 acres were given to the district by the late Robert Pilcher. It's important here to recognize that West Park was originally called Bush Park, and it was on property that had been donated by the Bush family for Bush Park. And then it was acquired by the city of Joliet. Also, before it was Highland Park, it was East Park, and the land owned by Robert Pilcher was originally the forest of Arden. Now, there are 78 community parks. It would take a long time to name them all. So I'm just going to say that they're named after historically well-known individuals such as Andrew Barber Park, Barr Park, and Crombie Park. Also, they could be named after areas in Joliet or neighborhoods or streets that they're on, for instance, Aiken Park or Garnsey Park. And here's the Joliet Park District logo. Now, my favorite park, where I grew up by this park, is Inwood. Huge park, and it's gotten even huger. They now have all of these things available that you see on the left-hand side of the name of the park. And then farther towards the east, they have soccer fields and baseball fields, and they even have a skateboard place. Now, this is a picture of Hartman Center. It's a little bit out of place in my program here, but we'll take a minute here and acknowledge that Hartman Center is a recreation center on the east side of Joliet off of Collins Street. And I've been to a couple bridal showers there. And now we'll go back to Inwood. This is the play park at Inwood. Thought I'd throw that in there for fun. And this is a multi-purpose center that's also located at Inwood. You know, Inwood has a pool, they have a golf course, they have a skating rink, they have a restaurant in there, they have classes, and I didn't know that this part of that existed. But this is part of the Inwood complex. Noel Park has all sorts of great features. It's right off of South Chicago Street, and you kind of go by the baseball fields at Noel Park, and then there's trees And if you don't turn to the left at that point, you're not going to see the fantastic building that's there that holds all of these features: basketball courts, volleyball courts, pickleball courts. They have a fitness center and a walking track and multi-purpose rooms. It really has something for everyone. And it's year-round programming. It's in an excellent spot. I'm told that just to the east of this building, there used to be an outdoor swimming pool. That is not there anymore, but there is a beautiful picnic area. And this is what the facility looks like. Isn't that wonderful? Also owned by the Park District, and I wouldn't think this, but the Joliet Regional Airport is part of the Park District. And this part of the Park District has grown by leaps and bounds since the late 70s. And it's really great to see. They have an annual air show. And early on in my presentation, I mentioned West Park, and this is actually some artistry that depicts West Park from long ago. Even before I was a small child. But this is one of my favorite parks. Spent a lot of time here with my family and friends with cookouts. We went ice skating here one time. There was a little pond that we ice skated on, and there was a warming house there. We went sledding on a big hill one time. It's now they have tennis courts, and there's a picnic area that's right off of Wheeler Avenue. And if you go down the hill a little bit off of Wheeler and turn on Bellevue, there are disc golf courses. It's quite a fantastic park. A part of it was taken when I-80 was built, but it's still a beautiful place. The ice rink is gone, the warming house is gone. The bridge connecting the two parcels of land is gone, but you still find the beautiful trees and shrubbage. I mentioned the forest of Arden, which was what Robert Pilcher called his parcel of land that he donated. I believe that was 325 acres. He donated it to the Park District, and they named it after him. This is a picture, a map of that area. I was always under the assumption that Birdhaven Greenhouse was part of Pilcher Park, but it is not. It's a separate entity, although it is very near Pilcher Park. Woodruff Golf Course is also not part of Pilcher Park, but is a golf course that's just to the northeast of Central Pilcher Park. There's a nature center in Pilcher Park that we have a picture of a little bit later. And over here is Highland Park, which indeed is a different park. And this also had a swimming pool, I am told, a public swimming pool at one time. And it's been gone for a long time. It no longer exists in Highland Park, but there is also a disc golf course at this location. And this is East Park, which, as I referred to, was part of Highland Park at one time. And where you have a West Park, you have to have an East Park. I don't know if that's really the case, but there was a West Park and an East Park in Joliet. And then, of course, it became Pilcher Park, which is also one of my favorite parks. This is a picture of Mr. Robert Pilcher, who donated the land. And I remember driving into the park, and my dad would say, "There's Mr. Pilcher." This is the Nature Center at Pilcher Park. They have programs. We were at a beekeeping program a few years ago, which was really interesting. They have some animals in here, some literature. So you might want to stop and see what they do have. Years ago, they used to have some animals in some outdoor cages. They don't keep them outdoors anymore. They are inside. And you will notice this totem pole over here. And we've had people come to the library and try to do research on where this totem pole came from. And there's not very much information. So if any of you out there know where this totem pole came from, certainly let me know. And this is the horse barn from Pilcher Park. I worked there the summer of 1983, and you could rent horses there to ride throughout the park, or you could take riding lessons. They had other animals as well. They had a pig and some sheep and some chickens and a goat. And these are the greenhouses that I said were not really part of Pilcher Park, but were adjacent to the park. And this is a really beautiful place, full of flowers in the spring and summer. And during Christmas, they have a poinsettia show where you can buy poinsettias. I have a couple of interesting things to share with you about the Park District. And I have something here from, it's the first annual report of the Joliet Park District. Once again, it was organized July 8th, 1922. This report comes in the form of a book that was published in 1924, first annual report. And it has a lot of information in it about the Park District. But what I found here that was really quite interesting was some information about some of the parks. Let's see. There was a tourist auto camp where people could pull in and spend the night at the camp that was provided for them. That was one thing. There's a nice biography about Mr. Pilcher himself. Oh, here. They claim that West Park is the oldest park with 6 concrete dams. that have been repaired so that the water is again at the desired level. And they note that there are 200 park benches in there. Now, Highland Park just got a new well in that year, and now they have a satisfactory water supply. There's a caretaker's cottage, and they now have electric lights. It appears that they allowed some form of swimming and boating. But at some point during the beginning of the park district, that could no longer be done there. Now, although when driving into Pilcher Park, you have Hickory Creek on your right-hand side if you're coming from Lincoln Highway. You have Hickory Creek on your right-hand side. And I remember going in there with a group from Joliet West in maybe 1981, and we rented paddle boats there and paddle boated on the creek. It also mentions a Powers Park, and I believe that Powers Park is where the interchange for I-80 and Richard Street is now. And when I-80 came through, Powers Park was another location that suffered because of the creation of I-80. Now, also from the 1938 city directory, I have a little write-up here that says in 1938 there were 1,500 acres of natural woodland in the Joliet parks. And it mentions West Park and Noel Park and Highland Park and Pilcher Park. And the paragraph about Pilcher Park compares it to the Arnold Arboretum at Harvard University. And it appears that it also states that there was Woodruff bridle paths, Higginbotham Woods, Woodruff Golf Course, Hobbs Parkway. I'm not sure where Hobbs Parkway was. Bird Haven, which is the greenhouse, Bar Park, Heggie Field, Powers Park. And then those were the parks on the east side. And on the west side, Garnsey Playground, Inwood Municipal Golf Course, and the airport are mentioned. Also, it should be noted that there's a little notation that says gymnasiums maintained in the elementary and high schools are open for public on stated evenings every week. That's interesting, I think. So I hope you've enjoyed this presentation by myself. If you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to contact me, Anneta Driling, at adrilling@jolietlibrary.org, which is, of course, my email address. And I'd like to also tell you that Lisa Louise Cook will be the presenter of a program on the 1950 census, which was just released to the public. The program will be on the Joliet Public Library YouTube channel, May 1st through May 30th, courtesy of the Joliet Public Library. So please make sure to tune into that. And now that I've come to the end of my presentation, I thank you all for joining me, and we will see you soon. This is Anneta Drilling, signing out.